Last time, on Alone in the Shadows of Brimstone.
March 15th, 1884. During our stay in Lestina, we received chilling news from Fringe with the arrival of the evening stagecoach. The lifeless bodies of 6 children were discovered in a barn, completely drained of blood. This grim discovery threw the town into turmoil, with whispers of Nosferatu stirring fear among the populace. After much deliberation, we concluded that the journey back to Fringe, which would take 6 to 8 days, was impractical. Resolved to continue with our initial intentions, we ventured to the secluded area of Clayton's Ravine, notorious for its recent werewolf sightings.
Hello everyone, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club and welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're going to continue with our playthrough of my campaign series for Shadows of Brimstone. The posse has entered the cave system and they've begun exploring, looking for survivors, but the time has progressed a little faster than what we wanted, so our chances of finding any of the survivors alive are going to be slim. But we're going to plot along and see what we can discover. We discovered a gateway to another world, and unfortunately that gateway is into the blasted wastes, and that's not going to react well for us considering the conditions that Sky Jones has on her. She's got 2 madness conditions, and one of them is open to the void, and she cannot use willpower to save against corruption hits, and corruption is a very common thing that happens in the blasted wastes. So I guess we will continue on and we will begin with a roll to hold back the darkness. Our darkness level is at 6 currently, and we need to get our normal darkness roll is 7+, but we've got this Curse of Coronado condition, which means we have to go 1 higher than normal. We have to roll an 8 or better, so the time is going to probably progress a lot faster. Here's the roll. We rolled double 2s. That is a mine event. Let's see what that is. And that depth event is called Dark Dread. Things are looking more and more bleak by the moment, and that is true. It says draw a Growing Dread card and add it to the stack. All right, that is going to be our 4th Growing Dread card. I just noticed something. I think I'm using the wrong passage here. That's I think from the canyons, and it should be from the blasted wastes. It won't matter, we're not going to be going that way, but I think I pulled the wrong mid passage. Okay, we're going to activate in order, and we'll begin now with Sky Jones, and she's going to roll for move. She rolls a 4. Okay, she's got 4 movement points, and we're heading to this other gate to investigate that. So she's going to move 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I guess that's going to be it. I won't do any scavenging yet until we've pretty much guaranteed that there's not going to be any survivors available. So we'll move on now to Eve, and she's going to activate for movement. We'll have her have a move roll. She rolls a 3, so we'll have her move 3 ahead. 1, 2, 3, and that's going to bring the round to a close. And now we are going to, well, I think what we will do is this. I think Eve is going to use her Home Remedies card. And no, she can't do it. It's got to be on the same map tile. I was going to have her try to use that to heal Sky Jones's 2 wounds, but we can't do that. We'll have to wait till she's on the same tile. Okay, so then we are going to begin another round, and we'll hold back the darkness. We rolled an 8, so we're okay for the time being. And Sky Jones will roll for move. She rolls a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. And that's going to complete her activation. We'll move on now to Eve. Eve will roll for move. And she gets a 2, so she'll move ahead 2 spaces. And now she's going to use her Home Remedies card. And she's going to use a grit to heal D6 wounds from yourself or another hero on your map tile. So Eve will spend a grit, and we'll have a D6 roll to see how much Skye can heal in wound damage. She rolls a 4, so we've healed the 2 wounds from Skye. That leaves her with 2 sanity out of 11, and Eve with 1 sanity damage out of 10, so that's pretty good. So we'll put that Home Remedies card back, and then we will continue on by holding back the darkness for the next round. Okay, here is the roll. We rolled an 11, so we are good. Okay, and Skye Jones will activate for move. We'll have her roll die. She rolls a 4, so she's going to move ahead 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. And now we'll move on to Eve, and she's going to roll for movement. She rolls a 4. Okay, we'll have her move up 1, 2, 3, and 4, and she's going to take a look into that other world, so we've got to get our world deck out. So we'll shuffle up our world deck and see what world she sees through the portal. And this time it is the Swamps of Jargono. Any attack is an ambush on our D6 roll of 1, 2, or 3. Heroes are +2 on all rolls to catch your breath. Okay, well, let's draw a Swamps of Jargono map deck card and see what she sees there. All right, so she has found in the Swamps of Jargono, she can see through, it is the Tribal Fountain. It's going to have an advanced encounter, Ruins of the Past, and we've already placed an exploration token there, but we don't flip that until a member of the posse actually moves through the gate into the other world. Okay, so that is going to bring the round to a close, and we will hold back the darkness once again. And here's our hold back the darkness roll. Rolled an 8, and we're still good. And now we will activate in order, beginning with Skye Jones. We'll have her roll for move. She rolls a 2, so she'll move up 1 and 2. And then we can decide what to do with Eve. And I think when we're crossing into a different world through a gate, I think we need to kind of do that at the same time. We don't want to have characters on both sides of the gates. If one of them got trapped, the other one would have a tough time trying to get them out. So I think we'll just wait and see what happens. I apologize, I had the camera out of frame for the Skye Jones movement. That's where she is relative to the gate. We'll make a roll for movement for Eve and see what she's going to do. Rolls a 6. I think I'll just have her hold position, and then we'll have her do a scavenge roll. We'll roll 3 dice and see if she can find anything. Eve isn't under any restrictions for scavenging like Skye is. Skye has that chills, and the first 6 she rolls on a scavenge test is ignored. So, but not the case for Eve. Okay, here's her scavenge roll. And she has no success. All right, it's the end of the round, and we'll move on now to another hold back the darkness. So we'll make our hold back the darkness roll and then see what happens. We rolled a 10, so somehow we're managing to hold on to that. All right, Skye Jones is up for activation. We'll have her roll a die to move. And she rolls a 1. Skye has 2 grit already, so I think what we'll do is I'll have Skye use the grit that she just earned. She'll move the 1 point that she gets, and we'll use the grit token to give her extra movement. So we'll roll again, and she gets an additional 6 movement points. So she's going to move through the gate 1, and through the gate 2, 3, and I think she'll stop there. So that'll be the extent of her movement. So that grit is spent, and we'll roll for movement for Eve. And she rolls a 3, so I'm going to have her move through the gate 1 and 2, and we'll hold position there. And then we're going to go through our exploration phase and see what's in this room. I'm going to readjust the camera a little bit. All right, so both characters are now in that room. We'll move our depth track down now to 15. That Curse of Coronado brought us all the way back to the beginning, and we can't really look for any survivors until we get to 11, so that looks like an unlikely event. So we'll go to our exploration phase, and we'll flip over the token and see what we find. And we have an attack. There is one doorway in the room, and that is also a gate. All right, the gate is to the north, and we have 2 end caps to the east and south. Now, since we have an encounter card, we're going to have to make a roll and see if we're going to have a werewolf encounter along with this, with the werewolf adventure. On a 1, 2, or 3, we're going to be adding a werewolf encounter. And that is what happened. So we will be adding a werewolf encounter. And we have to determine what the attack will be, but we have to resolve the encounter cards first. So we'll just shuffle these up and play them out in the order that they come. Okay, and we'll start out with the first one, and that is Ruins of the Past. Jargono Encounter Environment Explore. Broken stonework and architecture protrude up from the swampy waters here, covered in vines and weathered by time. What ancient civilization might have built this? Okay, we all have to participate in a lore 6+ test. If successful, gain 40 XP for each 6 rolled. You decipher some of the glyphs and ruins etched into the stone. Any hero that fails the test loses 1 grit as the hot and humid swamp air drains your strength. And then we have to do a luck test. Okay, well, we'll start out with Sky Jones. She has a lore value of 3. So she'll be rolling 3 dice for the test. We need a 6. And she has failed. Well, we can spend a grit to re-roll that, but potentially we'd have no grit then, so I guess we're better off just failing it. So in this case, any hero that fails loses a grit. So Sky Jones will lose 1 of her 2 grit, and we'll move on now to the lore test for Eve. Now, Eve has a lore value of 5. So she can roll 5 dice for the test. She only has 1 grit remaining, so if we fail this, she'll lose a grit. And that's what she did. She failed it, so she's going to lose a grit. She has none. And that will resolve the first encounter. Let's go on to the next one. Oh wait, we have a luck test now. A random character is going to have to produce a luck 5+ test. If you failed, you have lingered too long, attack, and draw a threat. Okay, so we got to determine a random hero. So we'll take their hero tokens, and we'll just shuffle those up and see who gets the duty. This time it is Eve. Eve has a luck of 1. Oh boy. All right, so we're going to roll a die of 5+, and this would be another attack. I'll have to see how we're going to handle that if that happens. Here's the roll. And she rolls a 2, so she's failed that. And it says you've lingered too long in attack. Draw a threat. So I guess we're just going to have an extra threat card is what's going to happen. Now it says here in the Werewolf Adventure, whenever a threat card would be drawn, roll a d6. On a roll of 1, 2, or 3, instead the heroes are attacked by a werewolf feral kin, and in this case it would be a, with the party size we have, 1 werewolf feral kin. So we're going to roll 2 dice. We would technically be drawing 2 threat cards, and if they come up a 1, 2, or 3, it'll be werewolf feral kin. None of those are. So we're going to be drawing 2 regular low threat cards. All right. All right, the first threat is a slasher. The second one is D3 plus 1 Ghost Warriors. All right, mixed bag here. So we'll get a D3 out and D3 plus 1 Ghost Warriors. We rolled a 3, so that will be a total of 4 Ghost Warriors and a slasher. We'll get that laid out. And it says here on the Swamps of Jargono card, any attack is an ambush on a D6 roll of 1, 2, or 3. So we'll have to make a roll for that. Technically, we only had 1. Is that correct? 1 attack, or is it technically 2 attacks? No, it would be 2 attacks. So we'll have to roll 2d6, and if any of them come up with a 1, 2, or 3, then it would be an ambush. Okay, here's the roll. And that's what it's going to be. So we're in an ambush condition with these creatures. So we'll lay it out with those conditions. All right, those creatures have ambushed the party. Unfortunately, we moved in an extra step into the Jargono area, and that gave them the ability to get around us. If we would have had our backs to the gate, they wouldn't have been able to do that. But in this case, we're surrounded. And we'll take a look at the initiative track now. Okay, the initiative values, the Ghost Warriors have 7, Eve has 6, Slashers have 4, and Eve has 3. But Sky has quick draw. During the first turn of a fight, you are initiative 10. So we're going to move Sky up to initiative 10 to start out, and she's going to get +1 shot with a single-handed weapon. That's extremely valuable. So we're going to move our depth track down to 14 now, and we're going to start by holding back the darkness, and we now have to get 1 greater than normal, so we have to roll an 8. So let's make the roll and see if we hold back the darkness. We've got double 4s. That's a depth event. Oh boy. And that depth event is falling rubble. The rocky ceiling of the mine shaft is unstable and prone to collapse. Each hero in the mines, I got to use the depth event chart for Jargono. Let me get that. Okay, that depth event for the other world, Swamps of Jargono, is Volley of Arrows. A volley of serpentman arrows rains down from the treetops above. Each hero in Jargono takes 3 hits. Any hero that takes 1 or more wounds also gains a poison marker. Here we go. Okay, so all of us got 3 hits. We can mitigate that with our health ability. All right, so we'll start out with Sky Jones. She has a defense value of 5+ only. So she's got 3 hits right now. We'll have her roll 3 dice, and she can stop those on a 5 or greater. She has none of them. Now she gets to use her armor. She's got her Aura of Protection, and she has armor 6+, so we'll see if we can stop those with a 6+ roll. And she doesn't, so she's going to take 3 wounds, and she's also going to gain a poison marker now. Oh boy. Okay, so Sky's got 3 of 10 wounds. I got to get a poison marker out. All right, so Sky is going to take a poison marker. I'm going to place that just for convenience in the corruption area, and poison acts as follows. At the start of a hero's activation, roll a d6 for each poison marker they currently have. On a 1 or 2, the hero takes a wound ignoring defense. On a roll of 6, discard the marker as the poison is worn off. Remove all poison markers from a hero at the end of the adventure, or if they are KO'd. All right, so that is the situation with the poison. Now we'll make that saving throw for Eve. Eve has a defense of 4+. So here's her roll. And she managed to stop all of them, so she's not going to take any poison. That's great. And I almost forgot, this is an ambush, so both of the enemy tokens are going to gain +2 on their initiative. So the Ghost Warriors are at 9, and the Slasher will be at 6 for the first round. But fortunately, Sky has that quick draw, and that gives her a 10, so she's going to act first. Let's take a look at these enemies that we're opposing and see what their special abilities are. All right, first up is a slasher, and that has Fear 2. Heroes starting their activation adjacent take 2 horror hits. And then it has Chiton Plating. Critical hits only reduce the slasher's defense to 2 rather than 0. It has a melee 3+ to hit, 2 combat, d6 damage, and a defense of 4 with 6 health. The Ghost Warriors are interesting as well. They have From the Spirit World. Ghost Warriors always ambush and are +2 combat on the first turn of ambush. Okay, I'm going to place a +2 marker to remind myself of that. I'll put that on the initiative track. Then we have Phase Jitter. Ghost Warriors are immune to critical hits, and hero ranged attacks will only hit them on a 2-hit of 5+. That is going to be tough, because Sky Jones, of course, is very good with a ranged weapon, and if she has to go to physical combat, she only gets a +1, so that's going to be tough. They also have Ghost Jump. Ghost Warriors move through other models and change targets each turn. That won't be too much of a problem for us. And then Possessed. Ghost Warriors are +2 damage with all hits from and against heroes with Spirit 3+ or higher. That will not affect Sky Jones. Well, it actually would. She has that locket that gives her +1 spirit. So I guess it would. And Eve is also at Spirit 3, so both of them are going to be subject to that +2 damage on all hits from and against heroes with Spirit 3 or higher. That's interesting. So I guess that works both ways. They're going to hit us for +2, and we're going to hit them for +2. Okay, the Ghost Warriors are going to hit on a melee of 4+, 2 combat, 3 damage, and 3 defense with 6 health. So this is going to be a tough battle. Okay, we're going to begin with Sky Jones. She has an initiative of 10. She's going to roll for move. They're surrounded, but maybe she can get a grit token. And she does. She's got a 1, and that's going to get her a grit, so Sky has 2 grit. Now she's going to make a ranged attack with her pistol. She gets +1 shot during the first round for her quick draw. She'll be rolling 3 dice. She's going to hit on a 3 or greater, but not the Ghost Warriors. If she chooses to apply those, we have to have 5s or better to hit them with ranged because of their phase jitter. So here is her roll with 3 dice. And she's got 1 critical hit. All right, I think we're going to spend a grit. And I'm going to re-roll the 2 missed 2 hits and see if we can get additional ones. Try to get a good jump on these things. And no, so she's got 1 critical hit. So I guess she's going to apply that to the slasher. Now the slasher has Chiton Plating. Critical hits only reduce the slasher's defense to 2. So we're going to roll for a damage roll now. And we'll see what we get. She rolls a 2. So I guess what she's going to do is spend 1 of her Deadeye shots to increase that to 4. The Chiton Plating would take 2 off, and we've done 2 damage to the slasher, so we'll mark him with 2 wounds. It seems to be the best we can do. Alright, so she spent 1 of her Deadeye shots, and that's going to end her activation unless there's something else we can do. Well, it doesn't appear to be, so we're going to move on now, and the Ghost Warriors are going to activate. We have 2 Ghost Warriors attacking Sky and 1 attacking Eve. Alright, we'll begin with this Ghost Warrior making an attack on Sky. Now he has a combat value of 2 that is increased by 2 during the first round. And that's a part of their From the Spirit World ability. So she'll be rolling 4 die, or they'll be rolling 4 combat dice. They're going to hit on 4 or greater. Okay, here is the roll. And they've got 2 hits. So 2 hits against her. Now those hits are going to do damage 3, and then also +2 because of the possessed ability, +2 damage from all hits from and against heroes with spirit 3 or higher. So that's a total of 10 damage right there. So we're going to have to try to stop that with a defense roll. We can roll 1 die for each hit and see what happens. We need to get a 5 or greater though. That's her defense. So 5 or greater. We stopped 1 set. So that means 1 hit got through. That's going to do a total of 5 damage. So now we can roll our armor that we have, courtesy of the Aura of Protection. And each 6 will stop an additional point of damage. Here's the roll. We got 1, so she's going to take 4 wounds. 4 plus the 3 she has is a total of 7. So we'll get a 5er out here. And 7 wounds. All right, that is the first of the Ghost Warriors. Now the next one will attack her. Same procedure. Be rolling 4 attack dice. And they're going to hit on 4s or greater. This is tough. And they've got 2 hits. So we're going to use her defense value of 5+ to get rid of it, hopefully. We stopped 1 set, so 1 hit is going to get through for a total of 5 damage. All right, so we're going to roll our armor and see if we can belay a little bit more of that. Here is the roll. 6s. None. So 5 hits are going to come through, and that is going to KO Skye. So we are going to have to use our revive token. It's going to take off all of her wound damage, all of her sanity damage, and oh, she had that poison token. I forgot about that. Oh boy. I'm going to put that poison token on the initiative track. That'll help me to remember that. We have to roll a die to see if she takes an additional wound on top of this. That would have been from the previous turn, but I'll do it anyway. On a 1 or 2, it would be 1 additional wound. On a 6, the poison is gone. It's a 1, so she would have gotten an extra point of damage, but the use of the revive token would have healed all of that. So that's where we're at now. Okay, that will that finishes up the attack on Skye. Now we have 1 Ghost Warrior attacking Eve. And you're going to roll 4 dice again for the first round, hitting on 4s or greater. And they've got 2 hits. She is going to defend against that. She has a defense of 4+. She stopped 1 set. So we got 1 hit got through. That's going to do a total of 3 plus 2 is 5 damage. She's going to use her armor to see if we can stop some of that. 6s will stop the damage. None. So she's going to take a total of 5 wounds. So we'll mark her with 5 wounds, 5 of 19. Okay, that is going to be all the activation for the Ghost Warriors. And now we'll move on to the next set, and that's the Slashers. We got 1 Slasher out there. The Slasher is targeting Eve, and it's going to roll a total of 2 combat dice, and it's going to hit on a 3+, and it's going to do D6 damage. Wow. Okay, they've got 2 hits. 2 hits against Eve. She's going to roll her defense. She has a 4+. She failed on both, so it's going to do 2d6 damage to her. Oh my goodness, that is not good. All right, we'll roll it up. 11. Oh my goodness. 11 and 5 is 16. So we got to put 11 more damage on her. Holy mackerel, that was severe. Wow, we're not going to last long at this rate. Okay, she's still alive, but quite a bit of damage there. All right. Oh yeah, before we actually take the 11, she can use her armor. So she could roll 11 dice and 6s would stop that 1 point of wound for each of those. We'll do that. Yeah, she'll use her armor, so she'll roll 11 dice and 6s will stop some of that. And she got 1, so it's going to be actually 10 points of damage. So she's at 15 of 19 right now. That's going to complete the Slasher's activation, and now we're going to move on to Eve herself. All right, Eve is going to activate. She'll roll for movement to see if she can maybe get a grit. And we'll see if that is a possibility. These dice out of here. Okay, here's her roll for move. She rolls a 4. There's nowhere to move to. Now she has a choice. She can either use her hunting rifle or just a melee attack with 2 combat. And I think considering the situation here, I think that's what she'll do. She'll roll 2 dice using her fists, or like the butt of the gun or something like that, but a melee attack. She's going to hit on a 4+. She's got no hits, and she has no grit to re-roll that. That is not good. All right, well, that is going to end her activation. We'll move on to the end of the round, and maybe we can use some side bag tokens. I guess Eve is going to use one of her bandages, and we'll try to heal some wound damage. It's a D6 wound damage. She rolls a 3, so that'll move her down from 15 down to 12. That might help a little. And Sky Jones basically just has a cigar, some whiskey, and a potion. Okay, we'll wait on those then, and we'll start a new round. We're going to roll for holding back the darkness, and we need an 8+. We've done it. We've got a 9, so we've passed that. Now everyone's going to go back to their printed initiative. So Sky is going to go down to a 6. The Ghost Warriors will go down to their 7. And Eve will still be at 3, and the Slasher goes to 4. So we'll begin with the Ghost Warriors activating. Fortunately, now they're back to their printed combat values, so that'll help. And we'll begin with the attack on Sky from that Ghost Warrior. He's going to be rolling 2 combat dice, and he hits on a 4+. He's done no hits. That is great. Next Ghost Warrior will attack her. Same situation. And that time he did 2 hits to her. Okay, she's going to roll for her defense. She has a defense of 5+. Here's the roll. She stopped both of them. That is amazing. So she's taken no damage. That is great. Now the final Ghost Warrior that can attack is the one going after Eve, and that'll roll 2 dice. No hits. We got really lucky there. That is great. So the Ghost Warriors are finished. We'll move on to Sky Jones. She's going to roll for move. She rolls a 5, so no help there. Now she's going to, I guess, open up with her pistol, and we'll try to maybe target. We need 5s or better on ranged attacks to go after any of the Ghost Warriors, and they're immune to critical hits. So she'll roll 2 dice and see what we get. Okay, here's the roll. She's got 1 critical hit, and I guess we're going to apply that to the Slasher. So we'll roll a die now. The defense, because of the Cheaton plating, is down to 2, so we'll be reducing this die by 2. Here is her damage. A 1. Well, I guess she's going to use a grit, and we'll re-roll that. Get another dice. Okay, here is the roll for damage. And another 1, so we have no damage. Darn it. All right, so that is a failed attack. Nothing else we can do with her. So we'll move on now to the Slasher will activate. Oh, that's right, I forgot. Sky was activating in the range of that slasher. She has to make a fear roll, which is 2 horror hits, and she'll roll her willpower. We'll see if she can stop this, a 4+. She stopped 1, so she's going to take 1 sanity damage. Sorry about being out of sequence with this. Forgot about that. And Eve would have had to do the same thing. She would be in the range of that as well. So we'll do the same roll for her. And she's failed on both. She's going to take 2 sanity damage, and that would have been from last turn. All right. Now the slasher will attack, and the slasher is targeting Eve, and it is going to roll 2 combat dice, and it hits on a 3+. It's got 2 hits. Okay, we're going to roll our defense, 4+ against Eve. She didn't stop any of them, so it's going to be a total of D6 damage, so it'll be 2d6 damage against Eve. 10. That's going to KO her, so we'll have to use our second revive token. This is not going well at all. That's going to heal her of all of this damage and sanity damage. And that is the end of the attack by the slashers, and now Eve is going to activate. We'll have her roll for move. She rolls a 2, so there's no grit there. And now she has to decide. I guess she's going to try the fisticuffs again. So she'll roll 2 dice, and she's going to hit on a 4 or greater. So here's the roll. And she's got 2 hits. Okay, she's got 2 hits. We'll apply the critical hit to the slasher because we can at least get some benefit from that. And the other one she'll apply to the ghost warrior in front of her. So we'll take care of the attack on the slasher. The slasher is going to be at 2 defense, even though it's a critical hit. So here is the roll. Another 1, so no damage. And now the attack against the ghost warrior, and there won't be anything other than the defense of 3 that it has normally. So we'll roll for damage, and let's see what she gets. No damage. Oh my goodness, this is not good. That's going to end the round, and we can try to use any of our side bake tokens. And I guess we're not going to use any at this time. She has that cigar that gives her +3, a 3+ armor. We could use that, but I'll wait a little bit. We're going to hold back the darkness and see if we can pass the roll, and we need a 8 or better. We got a 7, so the depth track is going to move up 2, up to 8, and we got to draw a darkness card. Oh boy. And we draw the card Forbidden Ritual, Darkness Tribal Ritual. Roll a d6 for each blood splatter and growing dread space that the hero posse marker has passed on the depth track, including the space it is currently on a roll of 1, 2, or 3. Immediately trigger that space, drawing a growing dread or darkness respectively. Oh my goodness, this is a total collapse here. So we're going to have to roll 1, 2, 3 darkness and 1 growing dread. We'll roll the 3 for darkness, and this will be a 1, 2, or 3 would be adding a darkness card. There's 1 of them, so we'll have to draw another darkness card, and we'll do that. And this one is Encroaching Shadows. The heroes now need to roll 1 higher to successfully pass the hold back the darkness rolls. All heroes are now +2 move remains in play. Oh boy. Okay, now we have to determine whether there's going to be an additional growing dread card, and 1, 2, or 3 will give us 1. And there will be. We'll be adding another growing dread card. It gets worse, and that's our 5th. Wow. All right, everyone's going to activate in order, and the ghost warriors will start, and we'll begin with the attack on Sky. 2 dice, 4+. No hits. That is great. We're getting lucky there. The next ghost warrior will attack her. 2 hits. Okay, she's going to have to try to defend that with a 5 or better. She stopped one of them. One is going to get through, and that's going to deal 5 wounds to her, the 3 plus the 2. So she's going to roll 5 dice, and that'll be her armor. We'll see if we can stop some of this. She stopped 1, so she's going to take a total of 4 wounds, and we'll mark her with 4 wounds. And we're down to 1 revive token. Okay, now we have the Ghost Warrior attack against Eve. Same procedure, 2 dice. And that time they're hitting on 4+. They have 1 hit. Okay, she'll roll for her defense. That's a 4+. She failed. She's going to take 5 wounds. So we'll make our 5 dice armor roll and see if she can stop some of that. She didn't stop any, so she's going to take 5 wounds. Wow, these things are absolute banshees. Okay, that is going to end the Ghost Warrior activation. Now Sky is going to activate. She has to begin with the fear from the slasher, so she's taken 2 horror hits, and she'll try to mitigate that with a willpower of 4+. She stopped 1, so she's going to take 1 sanity damage. All right. Now she's going to, I guess, use her pistol. She'll roll 2 dice, and we'll see if we can get some hits. She needs to get a 3+ for ranged. I hope I was doing that right and before. It's 3+. Yeah, I think I was, oh no, I was doing melee for her. She should have been hitting on 3+. Oh no. Well, okay, it's 3+ for ranged for Sky. She's got 1 hit. Okay, and I guess she'll try to apply that to the Ghost Warrior. That has a little bit less defense. And we'll roll for damage. And it has a defense of 3. 0 wounds. Oh no, I can't believe I was looking at the wrong column. I was looking at melee, 5+ for her. Should have been 3+. Oh, that stinks. Okay, that is Sky Jones. And I forgot about her poison. She has to roll for a poison roll. On a 1 or 2, she's going to take an additional wound. On a 6, the poison is gone. Okay, no additional damage from the poison. Now we move on to the slasher. The slasher is targeting Eve. And it is going to roll 2 combat dice, hitting on a 3+. And it has done 2 hits. She'll try to mitigate that with defense, 4+. She stopped 1, and 1 is going to get through for D6 wounds. 2. So she's taken 2 wounds, and she'll roll 2 dice to try to use her armor. 6s will stop it. She'll take 2 wounds. I guess it could have been worse. All right. And that is going to finish the slasher's attack. And now we'll move on to Eve. And I'm going to think about tactics here for a little bit. It's tough to decide. That hunting rifle is good, but it only gives you 1 shot. And if she uses her fists, she gets 2 dice. But the hunting rifle gives +2 damage if it does hit. So we'll have her roll for move and see if she can get a grit token maybe. Nope. Okay, I guess she's going to continue with the fisticuffs, and we'll have her roll 2 dice. She's going to hit on a 4+. She's got 2 hits. One of them is a critical hit. So we'll apply the critical hit to the slasher, and she'll apply the regular hit to the Ghost Warrior in front of her. We'll take care of the attack on the slasher. Now that is going to have a defense of 2, even though it's got the critical hit, so we'll be subtracting 2. She does 5 points of damage, -2 is 3. That'll increase the wounds on this thing up to 5. It's within 1 of being destroyed. So we'll place 5 wounds on the slasher. That's great. And I guess she'll apply this non-critical hit to that Ghost Warrior, and that has a defense of 3. Rolled a 2, there's no damage. Okay, and that is going to bring the round to an end. I'll see if there's any type of things we can use to mitigate these with tokens, side bake tokens. And once again, I apologize. I think I forgot about when Eve activated the Slasher's Fear ability. She has 2 horror hits. She'll try to mitigate that with a willpower. She stopped 1. She's going to take 1 sanity damage. That would have been from the previous turn. Okay, now is there any side bake tokens we can use? And Eve is going to use a token she's got called Brimstone Ash. And that does 1 wound, ignoring defense, to every creature that is adjoining her. So all of these are going to get 1 wound, and that's going to be enough to kill the Slasher. So that becomes really big. He would have 6 wounds, that's going to kill him. And then all of these adjoining Ghost Warriors are also going to get 1 hit each. So at least we've got a start on them. So the Brimstone Ash is done. That's very powerful. 1 there. Whoops, 1 there. Darn it. And 1 here. Okay. Now we have to roll to hold back the darkness, and we're not only at +1, but now +2 because of this encroaching shadows. So we're going to need a 9 or greater to hold back the darkness. Here's the roll. We rolled a 7, so we failed. That'll move the track up 2 more, and we're up to 10 now. And a blood splatter, so we have to draw another darkness card. This time it is Growling in the Dark. All heroes that are not currently on the same map tile as the lantern immediately take a peril die of horror hits, or 2 peril if level 5 or higher. Well, fortunately, all of them are on the same tile. That is great, so we can get rid of that card. That's good. And now we will activate in order, starting with the Ghost Warriors. Well, getting rid of that Slasher at least gets rid of the fear, so that's good. So we'll start with this Ghost Warrior attacking Sky. He's going to roll 2 dice. He hits on 4 or greater. And you've got 1 hit. Okay, she's going to try to mitigate that with defense of 5+. She did not stop it, so she's going to take 5 wounds, and we'll use her armor. I think what she'll do is she's going to use a cigar. She'll use a cigar, and that's going to give her armor 3+. So she'll roll 5 dice, and on 3s or greater, she can stop the wounds. That'll last for the rest of the turn. She stopped 2 of them, so 3 are going to get through. She'll take 3 additional wounds. That's going to move her up to 7, so we'll get a 5er in there. That moves her up to 7 of 10. And now the next Ghost Warrior will attack. And he's going to roll 2 dice. 4s or greater. 2 hits. Okay, she's going to roll her defense of 5+. She didn't stop any of them. So she's going to take a total of 10 wounds. She'll roll 10 dice, and on 3s or greater, she can stop the wounds from coming through with the cigar. Okay, here's the roll. Wow, she stopped everything except 1. That is amazing. Okay, so she's only going to take 1 wound out of all that. That's amazing. That puts her up to 8. 8 of 10. And now the attack on Eve. Let me get rid of these dice. All right. And now they're going to roll 2 dice on the attack on Eve. They've got 1 hit. Okay, she's going to try to mitigate that with defense. She did not. She's going to take 5 wounds, and she'll roll her 5 armor and stop those on 6s. None. She takes 5 more. That'll put her up to a total of 12 wounds. All right, I'll get a 5er out. And that puts her up to 12 wounds. Oh boy. Okay. And I just saw another thing here. Ghost warriors have that ghost jump, so they can move through other models. So this model would now be able to take the place of the slasher that was there, and he would launch an attack on Eve as well. Oh boy, here we go. Okay, 2 dice. He has no hits, so that worked out to our advantage. All right, we'll move on now to Sky Jones. Her poison is going to kick in. We'll roll a die, see if she takes additional wound for that. A 6, that is going to cure the poison. So we'll get rid of her poison marker. That's great. And now she's going to activate. She'll get out her pistol and make a roll. 2 dice, 3 plus. No hits. Oh my goodness, and I got no grit. Oh boy. I think she should have rolled to activate it. I'm out of sequence here. I'm going to slow down a little bit. We'll roll to see if she would have gotten a grit. No, she didn't. Okay, so that is going to finish Sky. The slashers are no longer on the initiative track, and we move down to Eve now. Eve will roll for movement. A 2, so no grit token. Now she can roll for an attack. I guess we'll continue using hand-to-hand combat. That'll give her 2 dice. None of these things can have critical hits against them anyway, so. All right, here's the roll. She has no hits. Oh my goodness. This is just terrible. Okay, we're at the end of the round, and all she has is whiskey and dynamite. That's what Eve has. And Sky has 2 whiskey and a potion. So the cigar now is lost. That was only good for this round. And we're going to have to hold back the darkness again. This time we need a 9 now. 9 or greater. We failed. It goes up 2. And that is up to 12 now, and we have to take another Growing Dread card. That's number 6. And now the Ghost Warriors will activate. Okay, the first Ghost Warrior will attack Sky. 2 dice, 4 or greater. 1 hit. Okay, she'll try to mitigate that with a defense of 5 plus. She did it, so no wound damage from that one. The next one will attack her. 1 hit. She'll attempt to mitigate that with defense. She did not. She's going to take a total of 5 wounds, and she'll use her armor. Her armor is back to a 6 plus. She stopped 1. 4 are going to get through. So 4 and 8 is 12. That's going to KO Sky. We'll have to use our final revive token. It's going to get rid of this damage and the sanity damage, and that'll be the final attack on her. Now we're going to have to undergo 2 attacks on Eve. Now we do have our valuable info token. If we have to, we can convert that into another revive token. We might need it. So the first one is going to attack her. 2 dice, 4 or greater. 2 hits. All right, she's going to roll defense, and that's going to give her a 4 or greater. She stopped 1. 1 is going to get through for 5 damage. Okay, she's going to roll 5 dice using her armor. 6s will stop the wounds. She didn't stop any, so it'll be another 5 on her, moving her up from 12 up to 17. Okay, and she's got to undergo 1 more attack. All right, the one in back of her is going to strike now. 2 dice. No hits. All right, that is going to end the activation of the Ghost Warriors. We'll move on to Sky now. We'll activate. And she's going to use her pistol. 2 dice, 3 plus to hit. She's got 1 hit. Okay, she'll try to apply it, I guess, to the one in back of her. And we'll see that has a defense of 3. 6 minus 3 is 3. It has 1 already. That's 4 hits on it. Those things have a 6 health. Wow. Okay. So 4 damage. And that's going to end her activation. We'll move on to Eve. Eve will roll for move. No grit. And I guess she'll continue on with her hand-to-hand combat. 4 plus. 2 hits. And we'll see how she's going to apply those. She'll try to apply it to this one. Maybe we can kill one of them. And that'll be a minus 3 defense. 6 minus 3 is 3. That's finally enough to kill one of these things. So he's gone. She has 1 hit left, and I guess she'll apply it to the one that's wounded in front of her. Same deal. Minus 3 defense. Nothing. 2 minus 3 is -1. And that's going to end the round. And I think rather than using our valuable information token, I think we're just going to flee the mine. And we'll end this. This is way out of control. So the girls are going to flee through the gate and back to the entrance, and we'll wrap things up with this mission. All right, so the gals ended up getting back to their temporary camp where their horses were stored. And we'll roll to see how much wound and sanity damage that Eve can recover. She's going to get a total of D6 following the mission. We'll roll that. She rolls a 5, so we can heal 5 wounds from her. That'll put her at 12 of 19. Okay, now we're going to divide up the spoils. We ended up with a total of $200 in cash, so we'll give 100 to each. And as for the experience, we ended up with a total of 290. So I'm going to give 150 to Eve, and we'll give 140 to Sky. That's how that's going to get divvied up. Okay, so that's going to give Sky Jones a total of $350 in cash, and she has 415 XP. For Eve, she's going to have a total of $100 in cash and 505 XP. So we'll be able to upgrade Eve Thompson to level 2 if we choose to. Now each of the gals are going to lose their aura of protection from Sister Sarah. Those are gone now, so we'll have to hopefully try to reacquire those in the future. So I guess we'll work on the upgrade of Eve, and we'll see what happens with that. Okay, so we're going to go through our leveling up procedure. Eve is going to spend 500 XP, and that's going to be able to get her to the next level. And we begin with marking down our new level. We'll record that. And then she's going to get to roll for her free upgrade bonus. Whenever the hero levels up, you get to roll 2d6 on the chart to determine the random bonus. So let's do that. And here is the roll. She rolls a 6, and that's +1 to cunning or spirit. Also gain d6 health or sanity, any mix. Well, that's pretty good. Okay, so she can take a cunning or spirit +1. Her cunning is 2. Her spirit is 3. So I guess we'll take the cunning, and I'll mark her at 3 cunning now. And now she can roll a d6 and gain d6 health or sanity, any mix. So hopefully we can get a high roll here. Rolled a 2. Well, I guess we'll bump her sanity level up by 2, up to 12. That seems to be probably the best we can do. And then we get to pick a upgrade using the Rancher upgrade chart. And I think she's going to go with the Frontier Survival category, and she'll take Dressed for Adventure. You gain +2 health for each clothing item you wear. Clothing items do not count against carrying limit. She's right now got the weathered poncho, so that would give her +2 to her health, putting her up to 21. So we're going to advance this up now to 21. I'll have to get a 20 and a d6 die here. So 20, and we'll give her a d6 of 1. So 21. All right, and that's going to complete her advancement, and I'll mark those things down accordingly. So each of them are also going to get a grit back. That's a part of the catching their breath at the end of mission. And Eve also gets, because of her home remedies, an extra grit to start an adventure. So every time that she does receive a resupply of grit, she gets an extra one. So she's got 2. And I think that's going to bring this episode to a close. So the girls are going to remain camped in Clayton Ravine, and when we do rejoin, they'll be traveling back from Clayton Ravine to another city to probably try to fully recuperate. We got to read the fail conditions though for that mission, and we'll take care of that now before we close out. All right, the failure conditions of the mission say if failed, each hero takes D3 corruption hits as they are scarred by the horrors they have witnessed. So D3 horror. And unfortunately, that means that Sky is not able to defend against those. She has that open to the void madness, and willpower cannot be used to save corruption hits. So we need a D3 to determine how many corruption Sky will take. She takes 1, so we got pretty lucky there. We'll get out 1 corruption point for her, and we'll mark her with 1 corruption. Now the same thing will happen to Eve, but she can defend against this. So here's the roll. She rolls a 3, so she'll be able to roll 3d6 in an attempt to stop this, and she has a willpower of 4, so any 4s will cancel out 1. She stopped 1, so she's going to gain 2 corruption from that, and we'll mark her with 2 corruption tokens. And the rest of the failure says that also the local towns are scared. Heroes may not spend more than 2 days in town during their next town stay. That probably won't affect us too badly, but that will be a condition for us. And now that is going to finally bring this episode to a close. Thank you so much for joining me. I apologize for the mistakes that I made on this, especially with Sky's ranged attack. I'm looking at it and I'm seeing melee. And this was kind of a tough mission to run. There were so many things happening, especially when the Ghost Warriors came into this. It was kind of tough to keep everything in my mind. But anyway, I'm sure it would have made a slight difference. I don't think we would have won the mission, though. Even if I would have used her 3+ range, we would have maybe killed an extra Ghost Warrior or something, but that's about it. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me at the Solo Gamers Club, and I hope to see you again next time for another video. We're probably going to go back on a slight hiatus for Shadows of Brimstone, and I'll be bringing some new titles to the channel. So thanks again, and this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club signing off, wishing everyone a pleasant evening. Good night.